Okay, here we go. Time for another ticket talk. Today I'm going to talk about this show. It was A Night with Steve Martin at the UB Center for the Arts in Buffalo, New York, April 27th, 2013. And I got a buddy of mine who was there at the show with me, Jay Zaretsky. I mentioned him in the past. Jay and I have done a number of road trips. Probably in the last 10 years, Jay has been part of many, maybe half of my road trips, along with, I've done with Mike, Master Andrea, another buddy of ours. But this one, it was just Jay and myself. Jay, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. And we're going to talk about this show and the drama surrounding it. Let me just test my YouTube voice.
Yeah, don't do anything.
Yeah. All right. So
wait. Before we start, there's a few things I got to preface with, right? So number one, Jay never had Nexus for the longest time. And Mike and I had been insisting that he get Nexus, right? To go, because we always go to the States, Buffalo, sometimes Detroit.
You should tell the good people what Nexus is. It's probably, there's got to be a few people scratching their head going, Nexus?
Yeah. So anyway, Nexus is it's issued by the Canadian, the U.S. Border patrols to allow for easier access through the border across the border.
Everyone knows what Nexus is. Move along.
If you don't know, if you're not Nexus, you're against us. To steal a wrestling phrase. So we had been telling Jay, you got to get Nexus because it's idiotic that we're waiting in lines at customs for you. So get it. And if you don't get it, you're not going to get back in the car. What we'll do is we'll go to Niagara Falls and put you across a pedestrian bridge, send you across there. We'll cross the Nexus bridge, and then we'll just pick you up. We'll go for coffee while we're waiting for you. So finally, we shamed them into getting it. The second thing is that Jay is like the unluckiest person in the world. There's like if he's like who's that? Was it the Peanuts character with the dark cloud over their head? Is it Peanuts or someone else? Maybe Ziggy. And like anything bad can happen is going to happen to Jay. So, for example, we'll go to a restaurant and he'll place an order. We'll all place an order. We'll get served, and Jay will be sitting there waiting because they forgot to ring in his order. Stuff like that. So that certainly held true for this show. So, Jay, you want to start?
Yeah. So, just the entire process of getting my Nexus card was more complicated. The day that I went to the airport to get it, the computers weren't down. They were taking one person at a time, and I was there for hours to the point where I had to leave. And I told them, like, listen, I got to go, so I got to cancel. And they said, we'll just take you next. And when they did take me, it was like one or two questions, and boom, I had my card, which, some people, I guess, are grilled further, and some people, they're just get them out of there. So I'm lucky that I got it without
so like
all was rolling.
Yeah, because like I remember when I went for my Nexus originally, I was there at the same thing at Pearson, and the lady beside me, she was like this like little Japanese lady, and the guy was just grilling her, right? He was like, yelling at her. If you don't carry your Nexus card when you cross the border, you will be banned from the States. Your family will be banned. If you don't declare your purchases, you will be banned, right? So I'm looking at this going, oh my God, this is horrifying. And I get up there, and the guy's like, so why do you go to the States so much? I'm like, I go for concerts and wrestling shows. Like, wrestling shows? Like Hulk Hogan? Like, yeah. All right, you're done. And so, yeah. So it's really, I don't know if it's random or how they figure, how they pick who's going to get grilled or who won't, but you were kind of lucky that way.
So we the first time I'm going to use it, we bought tickets to see Steve Martin in Buffalo. Steve Martin is not doing a comedy show, which is what I would have liked, but he's speaking, and that's as close as we're going to get at the time. So it's a pretty exciting thing to see, one of my comedic icons, and it's going to be the maiden voyage of my Nexus card. We're gonna fly through the border, but as Bob prefaced, my luck is sometimes not on the positive side, and that came into play on this day when we passed through the border, and I flashed my Nexus card, and they asked me if I've ever been fingerprinted before, which, well, Bob can attest that just any question I'm asked at the border flusters me.
Yeah. So Jay, I don't know, Jay gets he's like terrified at the border. So
Well,
it's like,
I'm not terrified, but
dude, you get so flustered. Like the one time I remember we went over and there's the three of us and they're like, Jay, what do you do for a living? Because I think it's a weekday or something. And Jay was like a supply teacher. It's like, Jay, what do you do for a living? He's like, well, I'm not really a teacher, but I go to the school and I deal with the kids a lot. Right. So I was like, just tell him you're a teacher.
it's I get the same way for job interviews. Like I lose access to like everything I know, and I just words come out and they don't even connect. And it's I don't know.
You get nervous and you get sweaty.
Yeah. So I don't know why he's asking me this, and I say that like I did when I was a kid. I think my parents had it done because we had to, and like he just like tells us to go to a building.
Yeah, like the parents would go to the mall, right? When you're like 5 or 6 and they'd fingerprint you. I give us a customary thing, so.
And they direct us to a building, and on our way there, I'm like, what's going on? And neither of us know. But we've got some time because we went early. We figure we still have time to get through whatever this is, have our meal, see the show. So we get escorted into this building. We're told the phones off, no phones, or leave them in the car, limit your speaking. I'm like, what is going on? And there's all kinds of people around who are obviously there for reasons that make me worried about why they put me there.
Yeah, and it should be noted, right? Like, so now, because there's a Nexus only bridge in Niagara Falls. So anytime we go now, we take that one. I didn't know about it at the time. So we actually went, this is the Queenston Lewiston crossing. So it was much different than what we would now experience. But anyway, it's pretty intimidating.
So the minutes go by, like into like a half an hour, 45 minutes, and we start laughing based on the fact that the first time I'm using the Nexus card to make this a more convenient process, we're now here for who knows what reason, delaying the process. We might be late. We're probably going to be late for the show. And just the ridiculousness of that like made us laugh, and then made me self-conscious about laughing because we're this heavily scrutinized. Like we're obviously crazy if we're sitting there laughing. And then finally they call me, and they take my fingerprints, and I don't know why. Maybe they need it like on file aligned with your Nexus card, and they needed to take my picture. And the police officer taking my picture is using this old webcam, and he balances it to the left and the right, and he finally gets it perfect and snaps it right when another police officer is walking by behind me, and he's like swearing and upset and does it again, and it seems upset with me, and I'm just like, whatever you need me to do, like.
Yeah, you're the troublemaker now because they can't get their act together.
Yeah. Finally I give the fingerprints, they get the picture. We're free to leave, and there's like maybe 10 minutes before the show begins.
Yeah, well, and we had left probably a good hour and a half to get food, like you said, and get maybe hit the Target or something if we were going to do that. But so right now it's like 10 minutes to the show. Now at the UB Center of the Arts, so I've been there a few times, and they have one theater there, which is like the music hall, and there's maybe holds like maybe 1,000 people, and there's a huge parking lot, so it's great. But this was part of the UB's Distinguished Speaker Series, and this is something that they do, and they bring in guest speakers, academics and scientists and stuff. And the students actually voted this year for Steve Martin to be one of the speakers. And I didn't know this because this is the first time I've been to the Distinguished Speaker event. This is open in the auditorium. So this is about 5, maybe 6,000, 7,000 people. It's a huge auditorium. And the parking it's ridiculous. You can't park anywhere on campus. So we're parked probably like a 15, 20-minute walk by the time we found a parking space to the venue. So by the time we got there, the show was probably 20 minutes in.
We walk in, it's completely dark. All the lights are off. There's not a peep from the audience. There's Steve Martin on stage speaking like a lecture, like with videos, and
there's big giant video screens on either side of the stage.
Yeah, so we're just trying to find our tickets. Like we can't even see where they are. And for a fraction of a second, all of a sudden, our friend Bob's head is on the big screen because he's walked in front of one of the cameras. He's almost tackled by someone who works there, like saying, "What are you doing?" And we're just We're just trying to get to our seats.
I was like that cop during your photo. I was like meandering by aimlessly.
So there were students and fans of Steve Martin who were treated to seeing Bob's face on the big screen for for a second or two.
So let me put this, because it's a giant auditorium and he's on the stage in front, and we had seats, I think it was like in the reserve section of the bleachers, but it was pitch black, like Jay said. So I didn't realize I was walking, because the bleachers in the back. So I walked to where I think our seats are, and I passed in front of the path of the hard cam. So
Yeah.
they grabbed us. Go ahead.
And we were told, like, just sit anywhere, and they directed us to the first two available seats, and we finally sat, and we're like, okay, I guess this is it. And then we listened to Steve Martin talk about his life. It was entertaining. We missed some of it, but when I think about seeing Steve Martin live, I don't think about the show at all, or the speech, or anything he said. I think about the the long journey to get to those seats.
Yeah, it was it was crazy. And again, it wasn't a stand-up show. He was going through a retrospective of his career, showing some footage from his stand-ups, footage from his appearances on, TV talk shows and stuff. It wasn't really stand-up. It was entertaining, like you said, but it was not, I think, what either of us wanted or hoped it would be.
But still, it's seeing like Steve Martin live. What's your favorite Steve Martin movie?
Well, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I think is,
I was thinking you're probably going to say The Jerk or something, but because I had Planes, Trains, and Automobiles ready to say. Another hidden gem is House Sitter. That's a really good movie.
I don't know. I've never seen that one.
Well, something to watch during the COVID-19.
Maybe. Anyway, Jay, well, thanks for joining me. I mean, that was about typical of our road trip experience. I mean, there's some crazy ones that me, you, and Mike have to talk about, and we'll get to those over time. And thanks for joining me, like I said, and we'll talk to you about another one another time.